Hi, my name is Tanya and welcome to my small backyard vegetable garden here in central Victoria. After another week of changeable weather, this chard has finally decided to go right to seed and is flopping over everywhere. While it isn't quite in seed, it is so beautiful, just like this pink piece here, but when it is well and truly flopping over, there is no way that I can water all the things in underneath easily. I'm going through and pulling it all out and keeping any leaves that look half decent, and I can chop those up and have them prepped for this week's dinners. Some of them might have been okay to stay, but I think I'm just going to clear them all out and have a clean slate with this, because with our weather, it won't be long before these go to seed also. There's nothing like having a really good cleanup, and I cannot believe how much came out of there. I'm moving on and getting these last two garden beds all planted up. I've gone through and set out where I want to place things, with keeping in mind being able to fit as much as I can into these two garden beds. I have a lot of things that have been grown from seed. These cucumbers in this last week got taken over by a snail, and I have not many of those left in pots, but I do have another packet of the munchaburplus, which was just down the other end. There's cucumber there. They've just sort of sucked the goodness out of them. I got a couple of these big pots of the yellow snack. I wanted only small ones, but they are the only ones I could get, so I grabbed those. It equals up to about the same price if I had have got much smaller plants in single pots. I have corn that has been growing, that is the snow gold, and some squash and zucchini, along with more bush beans. I have some seeds. If I feel that I can fit a few more in, I'm not sure. And they're the tender green bush beans. They are different to the ones I'm growing up in garden beds 1 and 2. Some ballotti beans. I had this tray filled, but through the hot weather, I had them sitting in a dish of water, and the ones that hadn't shot or started to shoot rotted. So, lesson learned. But anyway, I've got a couple to try, and I do have more in a pack if I want to get some more in. I'm finally growing loofahs this year. They are very tiny, but hopefully they will kick on once they get into the garden bed. They have taken a while to germinate, those seeds actually, and I bought these Tromboncino a little while ago, and they probably should have been planted out, but I've been waiting to get on with this arch. And along that edge, I may plant more tomatoes. These growing frames are going to be for the cucumbers, but I'm taking them away so that I can get them in the ground and safely growing under covers. This end one, I'm just putting in some seeds, and then I'm dropping more seeds into each pot. I'm just going to stick the seeds into the pot and plant what's in the pot, and hopefully they will just germinate quite quickly. We cannot have too many cucumbers, and I am very happy that the punnet of cucumbers up the other end, which are the Japanese climbing cucumbers, are starting to vine, and it won't be long before they are heading up the little arch down there. I'm not breaking up these beans too much, just going to get them in, plant them in bunches. The root system is good, and I don't normally sow beans into punnets like this, so it has been a good experiment. I think they have grown faster actually than the beans up the other end that I direct sowed, but they are also a different bush bean. Hopefully they will all make it through and they'll just have to jostle for space. Rather than sow them deeper into the ground, I'm going to top up with a bit more of the seed raising mix and put the mulch around them to protect them, keep the moisture in. We are due for more hot days, and that is why I am keen to get on and get all these things planted out so they have a little time to adjust. With these capsicums being a lot bigger, the hole has to be bigger, and I had thought about separating them, but they are too intertwined in the root system, so I am going to just leave them and plant them together. I've cleared off all the lower leaves because the mulch does come up high around the base. All this mulch is still quite fresh, so it hasn't sunk down, and it won't take long for it to do that once I have the sprinkler going on the garden bed. But for now, I just am going to hand water and get a bit of the wool put over the top of the straw. These are the nasturtiums that I put in as seeds, so they are a mix which I am keen to have sort of filling along this edge and hanging over, hopefully down the front of the garden bed. I am going to go ahead and put in some marigolds also that I have grown from seed. They are vanilla. Just making sure I remove all the lower leaves. Squishing the pot to help me get it out. And it does help to have a saucer to remove all that soil, especially when the garden bed is mulched so thickly already, just to remove all the dirt, and it makes it easier to put it back in around down the sides of the plant. I am going to get some more nasturtiums to plant around the base of the capsicums up in the big tubs. I think that will look quite pretty. This one came with a bonus plant, which was quite nice to find because I didn't realize it when I bought it. So that is that garden bed number 4, all planted up with things that I have at the moment. I'm sure there is more that will go in. Some more of the marigolds and maybe tomatoes along that arch. Over this side, I have the Australian butter pumpkins. I'm only putting, I think there's 3 or 4 plants, maybe 5 plants in here. I'm not sure how big they get. And loofahs, which I have never grown before, so I'm not quite sure of their habit either. Hopefully they will take off once they're in the ground. They have been quite slow to germinate, I have found. So I'm planting a lot of the taller things this side because I do get a lot of wind coming through this end of the garden. So hopefully this will protect things in the garden bed beside. I'm going ahead and removing all the lower leaves off these Tromboncino. Some have gone a little yellow. They've been in the punnet a little longer than I had hoped, but I did want to grab them because sometimes if you don't grab them, they're not there next time. I have 2 left over, which I might plant up in the capsicum tubs also. Now onto the corn. I had planned to plant it all down one end, but now I'm going to zigzag it down through the middle of the bed and see if that works. Hopefully, because they're planted in little bunches, that they will still pollinate. I do love this snow gold corn. I have not grown it in years. And I am glad that I sowed them into punnets early on because they are the perfect size. So hopefully they won't look back and they can just get growing. I bought another packet which I thought I might be able to put some in between, but I'm not sure that I will. Worry about it. Now on to getting these bush ballottis in. And some more tender green. Once again, I'm planting them in bunches. I am not breaking them up. I think they will recover and grow on better. Now on to the zucchini and the squash. So glad to have this all empty and I can get on with getting this tidied up. The dahlias here have got so much bigger than I had planned. And I picked up this rhubarb from Bunnings the other day. It's called Parker's Red. And I was just looking through, I had not planned to buy any, but when one says one of, if not the best rhubarb available, I am keen to try. So I am going to remove one, and I know which one. My garden is far too small to be wasting space on a rhubarb that I'm disappointed in. The wind is really picking up. It is the cool change coming through, and just in time, I've got everything in, and now we have a couple of days for things to settle. And I will put up some hessian covers for anything that needs a bit of protection. I'm thinking the pumpkins, the big leafy things. And it is such a beautiful time in the garden. It's cooler and it's just that late evening, and I cannot leave the veggie garden before I have some raspberries